Welcome back. You're watching our special coverage here on India Business Hour. We're trying to decode the victory of the Narendra Modi government, what it means for the economy and what it means for India and the road ahead. Sanjay Thakur of KPMG joins us now from London to give us a perspective on how foreign investors are going to view India. Sanjay, thanks very much for joining us. The usual bugbear in terms of the retrospective taxation, and that requires to be corrected by the next government. But be that as it may, given the political mandate this government enjoys and given where we are currently today, how confident are you feeling about the India story, and what is the best investment case for India today?
Well, I think I'm feeling very confident about the India story, and I think when I talk to foreign investors and ask them about their views on India, they're all feeling very confident. And this isn't about the politics of who came in, who didn't. I think that the thing that really encourages investors is the fact that the government has a clear mandate, and that means that the government can be decisive, and that's something that you haven't had in India for 30 years. So that's a real positive. I guess the big challenge will be that if this government does not deliver, it does not have the excuse of hiding behind, the structure of its mandate as an excuse for indecision or not pushing through reform. So, in summary, I feel very positive, and I think foreign investors feel pretty good at the moment.
So what are foreign investors going to be looking for specifically in terms of immediate objectives that they would like from this government? What exactly will foreign investors be looking for?
Well, I think the thing that's really important is that when you think about foreign investors in India, foreign investors are not sort of looking at a three-year horizon or four or 5-year horizon. They're looking at a very long 10-year horizon. If I'm going to invest in India, I need to know that that the foundations that are laid today are going to bear fruit 10 years from now. And over the last 2 or 3 parliaments, foreign investors have had to take a bit of a punt, a bit of a guess as to what that, how that's going to look. So I think it's really critical that the government starts to focus on, long-term structural reforms rather than short-term measures that may suddenly spike the, the equity markets. It's not about short-term victories.
It's going to be about balancing expectations. I understand that we need to address long-term structural issues, but in the short term, there's going to be disappointment if he doesn't push some levers to kickstart the engines of growth.
Yeah, that's right. I think that is right. But so long as investors can see that there is a game plan to get to that medium to long term, that medium to long term story, that will be positive. So, for example, being clear on particular policies. You touched on a moment ago about retrospective taxes and all of those sorts of things. But, investors are looking for clarity and they're looking for consistency. And so long as they see clarity and consistency, that's what that's what will be the inflection point for them in terms of investment.
Will foreign investors be disappointed if there is no specific mention or specific measure to address the retrospective tax mess? If they're just silent on it, will it be a big disappointment as far as foreign investors are concerned, at least in the budget?
I think it will, and I think this government needs to show that that they are listening to some of the concerns of the foreign investors. But again, one thing I always find interesting is that we often talk about foreign investors versus domestic investors. What's actually really important is the fact that actually what's good for Indian business houses is actually pretty much the story of what's good for foreign investors. So yes, I think there needs to be an eye on specifics around foreign investment, such as retrospective taxes and those sorts of things. But frankly, if foreign investors can see that reforms and and other aspects of government policy is creating a more business-friendly environment, that will be a huge fillip for them as well.
Okay, that's the view from London. Let me get Ashok Wadhwa back into this conversation. Ashok, will it matter at all who becomes the finance minister, or really does the market and do investors care about the fact that it's Modi at the centre?
Well, I guess, given that this is now a much bigger role at the national level, Mr. Modi will have to form a cabinet, a government, of course, which is of his choice and with whom he can work, but where individuals will have to be given responsibilities and will have to be held accountable. So my own view is that he's going to change his operating style from the way he managed Gujarat and have a team working along with him, but he will, of course, hold the team very accountable. And I will not be surprised if people who don't perform to their stated agendas are changed, because accountability effectively means that underperformance and overperformance have both to be rewarded negatively and positively. So I do think that the appointment of a finance minister, albeit of his choice, will be a very important appointment, and the market will look at that quite closely and be very interested in it.
Oh, they will most certainly look at it very closely. But Sanjay, before I let you go, which are the sectors that you see capital coming into, given where we are today?
Well, I think it doesn't take a rocket science to figure those out. I mean, infrastructure is a big sector of importance. I think I'd like to see more around sort of engineering, manufacturing. India has to create phenomenal number of manufacturing jobs to help it grow over the next 10 years. And I'd like to see some some policies that allow foreign investors with with the appropriate R&D, with the appropriate sort of engineering capabilities to help India drive and fuel that growth.
All right, Sanjay Thakur of KPMG joining us from London. Thanks very much indeed. Sanjay, Mr. Madhav, let me very quickly put that point to you, Ashok, as well, as far as where you actually see money coming in and what kind of executive decisions you think we could see. Forget the legislative action for a moment, but executive decisions that could actually help maintain the momentum that we're seeing in the markets.
I guess, the power sector appears as the most obvious one yearning for support, where just simple executive execution and implementation of some framework can help ease the bottlenecks that are today holding back significant number of power projects. But I would argue that, similar changes and executive authority can be applied across several segments. I mean, what is he going to give message around manufacturing? Remember, a large mandate has been offered to him because of his focus on employment and his mantra that manufacturing alone can solve India's long-term employment or unemployment issues. So, any signaling in terms of how he's going about it. There are projects that are held back because of environmental clearances, how he goes about dealing with those projects in the short term. I think those are some of the low-hanging fruits that he'll need to address early.
All right, those are